Today I want to talk about the design thinking pyramid. It's a little innovation tool that you may find handy as you go through your life trying to do things in different ways. So it starts with a triangle like this. Now we're going to take that triangle, now we're going to name it the design thinking pyramid. We're going to divide it into 4 parts. We'll need them in a moment. The first part is the copy part. That's the foundation of it all. Because when you look at something, when you go to a movie, when you try out a new pair of shoes, when you look at a website, when you do anything in your life, you can go, oh, that's great, I can copy that. I can take that directly and use it for something in my own life. Whether it's a new technique for holding meetings, or it's a way of aligning a program that you're running, or it's a way of organizing some software. Sometimes you can look at things, you can say, yeah, I can copy that directly. Or you can sometimes adapt it. You can say, oh, I can't use it exactly as it is, but I can use it in some sort of similar form. Now, as an example, sometimes when I do events, we use the raised fist of silence. And that means that if you see somebody who has a raised fist, you shut up and you raise your own fist. And that allows silence to spread across very big rooms and very big groups very, very fast. Super easy technique, super simple, easy to copy. Now, at one point I was teaching this to some police cadets, and one of them said, it's a great idea, but I think we shouldn't do it with the raised fist because that's just going to give off the wrong impression. Now, could they do it with something else? Could they do it with just like a raised hand? Sure. They couldn't copy it directly, but they could adapt it. Third part of the design thinking pyramid is inspiration. Sometimes you experience something and you can't copy it, you can't adapt it, but it sparks a new idea. You think, oh, wait a minute, that way that those trees are standing, that makes me think I need to reorganize my garden, or I need to park my car on the other side of the street, or I need to change how we're looking at our websites or our sales process or whatever it is. Sometimes you just get inspired. In fact, we often do this. So, number 3 option in the design thinking pyramid, inspiration. And fourth and finally, and this is something that a lot of people forget, I find, is element. Is that even if you don't like a thing, even if you go to a movie and you sit through it and it's the worst thing ever and you're thinking, why is this my life? Then there's still elements you can use. Maybe they did the font for the intro in a nice way. Maybe there was a nice music number at some point. Maybe there was something you liked if you allowed yourself to. Something that you thought, oh, I can at least use this. Maybe for this talk you're thinking, this is the worst thing ever. I can't use it for anything. But that guy's beard, I want one of those. Even if you can only take away a single element, there's almost always something there. So when you go out and you have experiences, you try products, you try services, you build companies, you look at how you want to innovate, remember that when you go through things, sometimes you find something you can copy, sometimes there's something you can adapt, and sometimes there's something that just inspires you. And finally, if none of the below are true, then there's usually an element or two that you can use for something. Why do I say this? Well, because it's a mindset. It's also a process. If you go to something, let's say again, you go to a lecture, and after that lecture, you sit down with a good friend who's also been at the lecture, and you say, okay, what could we copy? Well, then you might think of a couple of things. What could we be adapting? What inspired us and to what? And finally, were there any single elements that we really liked? So it's a way of looking at the world, but it's also kind of a checklist that you can run through, and it's super useful for innovation. When speaking of innovation, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to show you a short video. It's a lovely video, found it on the internets where many nice things are, and it's a great example of innovation in practice. And I want you to look at that video. It's about 15, 20 seconds long, so it's really not a big time investment. And then I want you to look at, okay, was there something that you could copy? Was there something that you could adapt? Was there something that inspired you? And finally, was there a single element that you liked, even if it didn't necessarily fit with the bigger picture? Now, here's the video. Happy watching. I'll be back in 20 seconds. So, we're back. Thank you for watching that video. And first of all, what did you see in it that you could copy? For me personally, I saw that I could take that exact process and I could do it with oranges. Not because I need to sort them. That's not my business. I'm not in the orange business as such. But because I have a daughter who soon turns 3, and I think this would be a fun activity to do with her. It would be fun to build the thing. It would be fun to experiment with it. And it would be fun to see her put oranges on the sorting machine and watch them fall into the things. So I could copy what he's doing exactly, even if I'm repurposing it for my own means, because I'm not exactly trying to be efficient about it. It's just something to have fun with my daughter. The second thing is I could definitely adapt that process later because we have a garden, and in that garden there are things like pears and apples and plums and all sorts of tomatoes. We have all sorts of nice stuff. It's really nice. And when we get to a place where we need that sorted, maybe we need it sorted for size. I don't know. Maybe it'll just be fun to do, but we can definitely adapt and use, if not the exact same process, then something similar to it for sorting those things from our garden. So that's a second thing that can be done. Thirdly is, I think it's hugely inspiring. It's inspiring on like this general big, wow, I'm inspired. I feel life is worth living, and the world is a beautiful place. So it's inspirational. For me, at least, this video is inspirational. But second, this guy also inspires me to do even more handheld solutions. Now, I experiment a lot. When I'm doing keynotes, I experiment with my setup, with how I'm doing things, with what I'm talking about. And in general, I'm a pretty experimental sort of guy. But seeing this guy just makes me think, I need to experiment more. I need to be even more handheld. I need to make even more like jury-rigged tests and prototypes that are simple and fast. Because this, while it's super handheld, super low-tech, it's not elegant, but it is. It's super elegant because it's not elegant, and it works, and I love that. So, inspirational, yes, on a human level, but also inspiring me to do some actual, like, concrete things when I work. And finally, elements. I love the element where you see the guy and he's sitting there, he's obviously proud of the thing, and then you see what I assume is a boss or a supervisor who's just standing there. And I'm not sure what his role is, but I love the fact that you see him as well, because you could easily have just seen the guy without seeing the other guy. Friend, supervisor, colleague. I think it's a supervisor, but I'm not sure. But I love the fact that the camera just pans up, looks at him, and then comes back. So that's a single element that I think I'm going to use that for something. I don't know what it is right now, but I'm going to use that element of not just showing the thing in itself, but also a reaction shot. Simple, but I like it, so I'm going to copy that. Now, this has been an example of how to use the design thinking pyramid in practice. Now we're going to remove the partitions in the triangle. We're going to remove the lettering. Now it's just a triangle again. We're back to where we started. I hope you find this useful. Thank you for listening.